Okay, some more practice problems in regards to factoring and adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing rational expressions. Now, isn't that a mouthful? Anyway, hi Vanessa. This is for you and everyone else that tunes in. Well, right here we have to recognize, first of all, that this is going to be factored by grouping. Okay? So to recognize that, this is the only type of problem that we know that's degree 3, 2, 1, and then we have a constant on the end. Factoring by grouping. So as it states, we want to make groups. So we're going to start by making a group of 2, and then we're going to make another group of 2. Okay? 2 groups. So starting off with this first group, we look at this and I think, okay, well, I have 3 x's here and 2 here. So I can factor out 2 x's out of each group. I'm sorry, 2 x's out of each term. So we have 3x plus, and then x squared divided by x squared is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. Took out an x squared out of both terms. Now over here I have these 2 terms, and so I want a number that goes into both of these evenly. I always try the smaller number. I always try that. And I know 16 goes into 16. And I know that 16 goes into 48 3 times. So I'm going to factor out a 16. But look, this needs to be positive and this needs to be positive. So I need these both to be positives. So I'm going to have to factor out a negative 16. So negative 48 divided by negative 16 is 3. Bring down the x. Negative 16 divided by negative 16 is 1. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to factor out a common term out of both of these, and the common thing that I can factor out is a 3x plus 1. So I'm going to factor out a 3x plus 1. Cancels, leaving me with x squared minus 16. And then here I have a difference of 2 squares, so I'm going to write this factor down, and I'm going to do x minus 4 and x plus 4. And that will be our answer. Okay. This problem looks a little intimidating. So with math, what you should do is you should break it down into pieces. Well, what do I know that I need to do? Well, I see that I have multiply and I have divide. So right away, I'm going to look at this divide and I'm going to change it to multiply. And I'm going to flip the fraction around. So I'll have the 4x squared plus 9 on top, and the x squared plus 7x on the bottom. That's the first thing I would do. Next thing I would do is I would start factoring everything, numerators, denominators, and being very systematic, I would start with this one. Again, remember Vanessa, 3, 2, 1 constant. Factoring by grouping. Okay, 3, 2, 1 constant. Okay, let's group our first 2 terms, group our second 2 terms, factoring out an x squared, leaves me with a 2x plus 3. Okay, nothing to factor out of here, so that's just going to stay the same. Okay. then I want to rewrite this. So I'm going to do just like I did up here. I factored out the 3x plus 1. So here I'm going to factor out the 2x plus 3. So the 2x plus 3 comes on the outside. Okay, gone, gone. We're left with x squared plus anything divided by itself is 1. All right. Here we have a quadratic, so we're going to use the x factor. 6 times 4, 24. 6 plus 4, 10. Now remember, that only works when the a value is a 1. So we got x plus 6, x plus 4. Continuing on, factoring this, the a value is a 1, so 7 times 4, 7 plus 4. So 7 and 4 are the two numbers I'm going to use. Okay? Difference of two squares. Got to be able to recognize perfect squares when you see them. So the square root of 16 is 4. Break x to the 4th down to x squared. Square root of 81 is 9. So we have 4x squared plus 9, 4x squared minus 9. We got to be real familiar with our perfect squares. This is a perfect square, perfect square, perfect square, difference. So we got to break this one down. Square root of 4 is 2. Break the x squared down to x and x. Minus 3, 2x plus 3. Difference of two squares. And finally, 4x squared plus 9 over, and we have to be able to notice here that we can factor out an x. Here there was nothing to factor out. Nothing goes into 4 and 9 evenly. No x's in common. Here we got an x in common, so I can factor out 1x. We're dividing by x, and that's how we get that. All right, now it's time to eliminate. So starting here, 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3. X squared plus 1, nope. X plus 4, x plus 7, 4x squared plus 9. Okay, what do I have left on top? What do I have left on the bottom? And if you check the answer, hopefully it's right. And it's not. Forgot my x. That's what's nice about checking our answers. Whew. And you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not going to get to number 14. I got to go eat some lunch. Just remember, factor the denominator. Hopefully you can do number 14 now, because the bottom one is another factoring by grouping. You've seen two examples of factoring by grouping. So let's see if you can do it. You can do it. Hope you have a good night. Gotta go eat.